The following program contains sexual content. Viewer discretion advised. Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Let me ask you straight up. Have you molested your daughter? She says you have inappropriately touched her 100 times.
That is not true.
He won't admit it. I want him to admit it.
He says you have brainwashed her because you're upset with him.
That is a lie.
For the first time in 3 years, Brittany will face her father. She wants that showdown. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. No mother ever wants to hear. Someone's been touching me. But that's exactly what Danielle says she heard from her daughter. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Danielle says her 13-year-old daughter, Brittany's most recent gut-wrenching accusation has shattered her world as a mom. According to Danielle, Brittany claims that over the course of 6 years, starting at just 7 years old, her own father sexually abused her at least 100 times. Now, Danielle says she believes her ex-husband Tim's abuse began when she sent Brittany to live with him, a move she thought was a safe haven for her daughter, after Danielle's then-boyfriend was caught and convicted of molesting little Brittany. But Danielle says instead of sending her daughter to a loving father, she believes she delivered her into the hands of another disgusting monster.
There's no doubt in my mind that Tim molested my daughter. Brittany told me that he molested her in a lake. On another occasion, Brittany told me about him coming into her room and fondling her. Brittany also told me that he would molest her when his ex-wife would leave for work. It was clear Tim was a pedophile. I got sick to my stomach and I almost passed out. It was something hard for me to accept. I immediately reported it to the police, and basically they just said that it was Brittany's word against his, and they dropped it. I was very furious. I confronted Tim and he denied it. He said, "I can't believe you are accusing me of this. I don't know why you're doing this to me. Like, I was out to get him. It wasn't me. It was coming from my daughter." Tim accused me of brainwashing Brittany. Why would I just make Brittany say these things about her father when we have 2 other children together? Why wouldn't I make all of them say the same thing? It was just ridiculous. Tim is a sick individual and has gotten away with his crime. He needs to stand up and look at Brittany in her eyes and admit it.
All right, Danielle, I'm glad to meet you, but sorry for the occasion, of course. I wish we were talking about 1,000 other things than this. Tell me what you hope to achieve here today.
I'm looking for answers for my daughter. Tim to admit it, what he's done to Brittany.
Right.
He's ruined her life.
And tell me, now, Brittany, as we were just talking about in the beginning, you say has been victimized 3 different times.
Yes.
And the first time was by an ex-boyfriend?
Yes, one of my fiancés.
Of yours?
Yes.
And this happened in the home?
Yes.
And where were you when this was happening? How did it come about?
I was at work at the times that it happened. And
was this man living in the home?
yes.
Okay. And you left her with him?
Yeah, he would babysit my children when I was at work.
And she was how old at the time? She was 7?
She was 7 when it surfaced.
This put you on hyper alert, right?
Yes.
I mean, you were like, okay, wow.
It was very shocking because he was such a good man, and you never dreamt that you were with somebody and they had this secret like this.
Mm-hmm. He had been touching her, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you've been very forthcoming about the fact that you were victimized growing up as well.
Yes.
At the same age.
Yes, 6 when mine started.
Okay. And actually, you were victimized in very much the same way.
Yes. I told my mom on many occasions. It got to the point where my mom would be she just turned her back to me and overlooked it. On my 14th birthday, she turned me over to the state.
Okay, so she didn't believe you.
No.
Or if she did, she didn't care.
She didn't want to, right.
And so she ultimately sent you away.
Exactly.
Okay. And so now here you are with your daughter at the same age that you were, and the identical thing is happening to her. And you believed her.
And I believed her. I stood 100% behind her.
And you say you think Tim took advantage of Brittany after that abuse because you said you think he thought he could just mix that all in with what was happening and claim confusion.
Exactly. That was his, I mean, a predator probably thinks that way, that this is my perfect opportunity, that she's confused on who touched her and things like that, and Brittany's not.
Right. And he denies this, right?
Yes.
He says, absolutely didn't happen.
Right.
And thinks you brainwashed her into saying it happened.
Exactly.
But you also say that, and I have the quote here, I know he knows that he did it on some level. That even though he claims he didn't, that at some level, he knows he did
yes.
it. And what do you mean on some level?
I know he inappropriately touched her in ways.
And even though he denies it, you mean he knows at some level inside he knows
yes.
he did wrong?
Yes.
Okay, well, Tim is here, and he adamantly denies ever sexually abusing his daughter. He claims Danielle has brainwashed Brittany into lying about the whole thing. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Brittany has been completely brainwashed by her mother into thinking that I molested her. I have never inappropriately touched my daughter in any way. I would not do that. That's just outrageous. Brittany was molested by her mother's boyfriend at a younger age. Brittany has been confusing memories of what happened with her mom's ex-boyfriend. Before these accusations came to light, Brittany and I were very close. She would spend summers down at my house in Arkansas with all of her siblings. We would go to amusement park, to the zoo, we'd go to swimming. It was just generally a good time. When they first made these accusations, I was totally blindsided by that. I have 3 other daughters and 2 that I have adopted, and none of them have ever said that I have done anything like this. After the interview with the state police, I was never charged with anything. There was no proof, and all charges were dropped. Brittany's mom planted these thoughts into her head because Danielle was still very bitter over the divorce. Danielle has even gone as far as to contact my current wife, telling her that I was a child molester and that I sold cocaine to try to ruin my current marriage. It's just beyond comprehension. Because of Danielle's manipulation, I have no relationship with my daughter, Brittany. Danielle is going above and beyond trying to destroy me, and she should have to pay for her lies.
Well, Danielle has not seen her ex-husband in 3 years, but he is here now. Tim, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
You have some very serious allegations, accusations against you, some of the most heinous things anyone could say about a father regarding his daughter, about any man regarding a child. Why did you want to be here today?
Because Brittany and I have talked through text messages recently, and the only way that we felt that we could get past this is if I would take a lie detector test and go through counseling to where we can resume a father-daughter relationship.
Why would she wants you to take a lie detector test.
That was just one of the things that she had suggested that I do, that could prove or disprove what I've been accused of.
You think she's brainwashed your daughter?
Yes.
Into saying these things about you?
Yes.
She says that you have inappropriately touched her 100 times. Let me ask you straight up. Have you molested your daughter? And later...
He's told me sorry multiple times and that he would never do it again.
This man makes me sick. He's a predator. Brittany may not be his only victim.
Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. The woman engaged.
Have you picked a dress?
I have.
To making a murderer, Stephen Avery.
He would sign his letters, love, your husband. I believe he's innocent. He needs help.
There are a lot of people that want to help him that don't want to marry him.
Love behind bars.
He's been involved in burglaries, burned a cat alive. What might he do if he gets frustrated with you?
All new Dr. Phil exclusive. Monday.
Let me ask you straight up. Have you molested your daughter?
No.
Have you in any way touched your daughter inappropriately?
No.
Accidentally, sorta, kinda, maybe?
Never.
Wow, on reflection, in retrospect, that was a bad choice.
No, never.
Not once.
Never.
Because she says that you have molested her, that you have inappropriately touched her 100 times.
That is not true. I have never touched her inappropriately.
Why would a child allege this? Why would a child say, not once, not twice, not 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 times that you have done this?
Because from the time that she was molested by her mom's boyfriend, her mom has been feeding that information into her.
That is a lie, Dr. Phil. I have never put any words in Brittany's head to even accuse him of this stuff.
Why do you suppose she would want him to take a lie detector test? If you've been molested 100 times, you don't need some damn test to confirm that you have.
Exactly, Dr. Phil.
Why would she make that request?
Because she knows. She knows in her heart that it's true, and she just wants to prove to everybody that it is.
He says that you have brainwashed her because you're upset with him.
That is not true. Really, this man makes me sick. He's a predator. Brittany may not be his only victim. She's an adult. She has her own mind. So she can say and feel what she wants right now.
You made up her mind when she was young.
No, I've never put anything to my daughter's head, ever.
Were there warning signs in looking back? Are there warning signs that you didn't respond to?
I look back and think, I wonder now, like, what was he doing? He always took her on car rides, and I sit back and think, now, what was he doing in those car rides? Where was he taking her? And then one incident when we lived across the street from each other, I had walked in and Tim was in the shower and Brittany was on the floor by the bed, naked, and she was looking at a Playboy magazine. And I wonder now, I never thought it at the time. What happened then? Like, what just happened? Why is he in the shower and my daughter's on the floor and not even 2 years old and looking at a Playboy magazine? Never dreamt that, you know, that her father could be doing something to her at the time.
Okay.
What she's saying is totally false. That never happened.
Yes, it did.
No, it did not.
Yes, it did.
You said at some level he knows this is true. I don't understand that. If this son of a bitch has molested a child 100 times, what do you mean at some level he knows it's true? If he did that, there's not some level he knows it's true. He knows it's true.
He knows it's true.
It's not some level.
He knows it's true, and he just needs to admit it.
Well, what do you mean at some level he knows it's true?
Dr. Phil, I was underage when he met me.
If he's done it 100 times, this isn't fuzzy.
It's because he won't admit it. Like, he knows, and I want him to admit it. That's it. But he's always been such a liar, and he believes his own lies, that I know he knows.
You were molested at this age?
Yes.
Your daughter was molested by an ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
Then subsequently you sent her to him.
For comfort.
Right.
I thought she needed her father.
And then the allegation comes out that he has molested her. Did you not allow him to continue to see her after that allegation was made?
I didn't know the whole thing at that time. I just knew of something. I didn't know if he was abusing her in a different way.
That's not what you told us. You told us that after the allegations had been leveled that he had been molesting your daughter, you continued to allow him to have visitation with her.
There was very little. Very little.
Is that a yes?
Yes. And
so
I regret that.
At 13, it comes out, the allegation comes out, that he is molesting your daughter, that he is touching her inappropriately, more than touching her inappropriately. You deliver her to her predator.
Not after that. Not after that.
That is not what you told us. You said you continued to allow her to have visitation with him.
Yes, there was a couple summers that she went down there with her other siblings for.
I'm sorry, that doesn't add up to me. Now, understand, I think it's a really bad practice to ever put a victim and a molester together face to face. And I don't do that unless that victim has asked for that confrontation, has asked to be in the same room and in the same space. And in this case, Brittany has not only asked for it, she has insisted. She wants that confrontation. She wants that opportunity. After 3 years, she wants that showdown. So this is at her request. This is not my being insensitive and putting a victim in the room with the alleged molester. This is her request, and I'm going to grant it after the break.
My father had no shame. My father would pull me out of bed into his bed and do things in there. Every time my dad asked me to sit in his lap, I knew it was going to happen. Because I was young, I thought it was normal.
And later,
He came to me to do a lie detector test. I didn't tell him to do a lie detector test.
he agreed to take a polygraph test to prove his innocence.
When Brittany was 7 years old, I found out that my boyfriend had been molesting my daughter. When I told Tim, it was like he didn't care.
I was very angry at Danielle. My first thought was to buy a gun and take care of the situation myself.
Visits to the lake, sitting in a rocking chair on her father's lap and being tickled until she couldn't take it. These are all memories of a loving father a little girl should cherish. But instead, Brittany says her father used all of these moments as opportunities to sexually abuse her.
There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that my father molested me. My dad is a pedophile, a child molester, and he's sick. To this day, I still have nightmares. My first vivid memory was at a lake in the water. My dad was touching me then, between my legs, with all my siblings there, and stepmother. My father had no shame. My father would pull me out of bed into his bed and do things in there. Every time my dad asked me to sit in his lap, I knew it was going to happen. My dad touching me or me touching him in his private. Because I was young, I never told him to stop because I didn't think it was wrong. I thought it was normal. The moment I realized that my father shouldn't have been doing that to me, I hated him. My trust was betrayed. I was being taken advantage of all the time. But sometimes I wonder if it was my fault because I allowed it. My dad absolutely takes no responsibility for what he's done. He thinks I'm stupid, messed up in the head. He says I'm confusing him with the other guys. My dad is living in complete denial. Because of what my father did to me, I do not trust men. My dad has completely ruined my self-esteem. I am completely disgusted by my father. I want him to look me in the eyes and admit everything he's done to me.
Well, Brittany has not seen her father in 3 years, and I'll ask her to join us. Brittany, how are you?
Good.
Make you have a seat. Brittany, I don't know what's happened here, and I come into this a blank slate, trying to figure things out. If your father has done what you believe him to have done, I believe he should be held accountable for it. I believe he should answer for what you say he has done, if in fact he has done that. If he hasn't done that, if he's been caught up in some psychological morass, that would be terrible. It would be a terrible injustice. And I know that however, wherever, I think it's pretty clear you've been victimized in your life here, and I hate that for you, and I'm very, very sorry for that. What is your level of confidence that during this time period that your father was involved in all of this?
I felt like I was being used as a play toy. You know, my mom sent me down there, and it was an open door for him, because that's when it started, that I remember. And he came to me to do a lie detector test. I didn't tell him to do a lie detector test.
What is your level of confidence that you're assigning experiences to the proper place?
I didn't know it was wrong until I went to counseling when I was 13. I didn't know anything was inappropriate until then. I don't know, I never felt comfortable being around him alone or anything like that, because I was one of my siblings there with me.
Is it possible you didn't feel comfortable being around him alone because of what had happened to you at the hands of your mother's boyfriend?
That could have been a part of it, but I was comfortable with him prior to all that, and after that. I wanted to go see my dad when all this happened. You know, every girl wants to be a daddy's girl.
But do you specifically remember him molesting you?
Yes, I do.
You have no doubt in your mind about that?
Nope, no doubt.
And you said this happened to you over 100 times?
Over 100 times. It was almost a daily thing. When my stepmom would go to work in the morning, he would pull me out of the bed and take me to his bedroom. And then things would happen there. Or if my siblings weren't in the bed with me, then things would happen in that room where I was sleeping. There was times it happened in the rocking chair in front of my siblings, playing on the floor or watching TV. There was times it's happened, we went swimming at a lake, and he would hold me or throw me or play in, but be touching me at the same time.
If I'm brainwashing her, how would I know this? If she's in Arkansas, how would I be telling her, okay, tell her it happened at the lake? How would I get that into her head?
The touching never happened.
He's lying. He's lying. He's told me sorry multiple times, that he would never do it again.
It's no fun if it's too easy.
MacGyver, the new hit series, CBS tonight, 8/7 Central.
What do you say about those instances that she's talking about here?
They never did happen. That's all I can say. I mean, I never touched my daughter inappropriately.
You were in the lake with her?
Yes.
You were home alone with her siblings and other people around,
yes.
Right? But you're saying the touching never happened?
The touching never happened.
He's lying. He's lying. And I know he knows. It's because he's told me sorry multiple times, that he would never do it again.
Have you ever apologized to her in that way?
When I told her I was sorry that she felt that I thought I'd done those things to her. But I knew that she was getting those thoughts through her mother.
You know you're lying.
I did tell her that I was sorry that she felt that I had done those things to her, but I had never touched her inappropriately.
He's lying. And it hurts me.
How long had it gone on with your mother's boyfriend before it was discovered at age 7?
I don't remember the actual how long. I would say at least a year.
Okay. And how did that...
It wasn't as off. I mean, it was... I remember him making me, like, go in the room and watch porno with him and locking my siblings in the other room.
How did that get discovered?
After it all came out, I told my mom everything, what was going on. I had never told my mom any of it in between.
I was confused about that because in terms of how you found out about the ex-boyfriend's sexual abuse of your daughter, Brittany says it was my mom who eventually caught him in the act.
Caught him, she caught me doing something. Yeah, I never knew exactly, I don't remember exactly what she caught me.
But you told the producers that your mom actually red-handed caught something going on in the act.
Yes.
Okay, but you said Brittany was at my sister's home and told my sister what happened to her. I rushed over to my sister's house. At first, she resisted, but I forced Brittany to tell me what happened.
Well, what happened was my sister had the children, and Brittany had told her what happened. And that's when I forced Brittany to tell me what happened. And then from there on, we called the police and everything.
You're either missing my point or choosing to ignore it.
Okay.
Having been trained as a forensic psychologist, I pay very close attention to how reliable of a historian people are, how close things add up. Brittany says it was my mom who eventually caught him in the act. According to you, Brittany was at my sister's home and I forced her to tell me what happened. Now, this is not 1 out of 5,000 days. This is a very significant day when you find out that your daughter is being molested by someone you loved and trusted, had inside your home, and access to your children.
Yes. I did catch her in an act with a stuffed animal. And that's when I had come
That's not what that says.
I know, but that's where she's mistaken. I never had caught them in the act, like him doing anything to my daughter.
You said that during the time that this was happening with your father, that you just didn't know it wasn't normal.
Yes.
But yet, from the age 6 to 7, you had been molested in exactly the same way by a boyfriend of your mother's, and a big deal was made of it. He got arrested and taken to jail.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a pretty clear indication that this isn't normal?
I don't remember him going to jail. I don't remember any of that. I don't remember being talked to about it or anything.
But if that was fuzzy, could this be fuzzy?
I remember what he did to me, but to tell you how it all ended and how it all started, I can't tell you all that.
Okay, Tim says sexual abuse accusations are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the lies Danielle's conjured up to turn the kids against him. We're going to talk about that after the break. I'll be right back.
Danielle brainwashed Brittany, but she has told countless other lies about me as well. Danielle has told our children that I have never paid child support when actually I have overpaid. Danielle told our children that I never tried to visit them. That is completely untrue. Danielle and I would agree upon a date and time that I could pick the children up. I would drive 400 miles up there, and then she would not allow me to see them. I was very furious.
I never made it difficult for him. He always had the opportunity to come visit the kids. That was his choice.
Danielle even recently told me that one of our children is not my biological child. At this point, I don't know whether to believe anything she says.
You're not the only one that's critical of Tim. We talked to Tim's third ex-wife. She said, I feel it is important for Dr. Phil to know some information about Tim. Tim is addicted to pornography, and I believe he has a sex addiction. After we separated, I found 200-plus DVD and magazines. The most popular magazine was one called Barely Legal, where girls looked 12 years old. I never saw anything in regards to Brittany, but I do believe her more than Tim, given his character and choice of magazines. What do you say about her statement?
It's totally untrue. We had a bad divorce. I feel she's just using this as a shot, you know, a shot at me.
Do you have an affinity for pornography?
No.
Did she find 200 DVDs?
No.
Did she find any DVDs?
Not if she found any that weren't mine.
Magazines?
Not that I had.
So she just totally making that up?
Yes.
Do you think she's bitter from the divorce too? I'm bitter from the divorce? Tim.
You know, I've also looked at kind of a generational pattern here that has come up, because Danielle, you say from 6 to 13, you say a family member, there was touching of the genitalia. Your family didn't believe you. This person was not convicted. In fact, you were not believed and sent away.
Exactly.
Brittany, from 7 to 13, alleges that exactly the same thing happened. Says family members don't believe her, and he's not been convicted. So, identical situation here. Identical allegations, identical outcome. Now, with Brittany, again, identical allegation, ex-boyfriend, he was convicted. And then at 13 years old, this was at the swimming pool.
Yes.
Public swimming pool.
Yes.
And this person was convicted and sentenced to 5 years.
Yes. And she wasn't his only victim.
You have a child.
Yes.
Same age.
No, she was not 6. She
How
was 3.
Okay, 3.
Yes.
Same
Yes.
allegation. And when you say family didn't believe her, what do you mean?
The family friend. His family.
How is she doing?
She's doing okay. She went to counseling also.
He agreed to take a polygraph test to prove his innocence. But I suspect you guys would be suspect that he was trying to evade the test. Hey, Dr. Phil here. We're ready to start the show, but we're waiting on you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping of the Dr. Phil Show, call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445, or visit drphil.com. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon.
I feel guilty for sending Brittany to stay with Tim after my ex-boyfriend molested her. At the time, I thought it was the best option. Now I look back and I just realized I sent her to another monster. Tim thought Brittany was vulnerable, and he took advantage of that because of the previous abuse. This is why Tim struck when he did. It gave Tim the opportunity to hide what he did and blame the abuse on other men. He's a monster.
Well, Tim is adamant that he has never sexually abused his daughter, Brittany. So adamant that he agreed to take a polygraph test to prove his innocence. Now, I'm going to tell you that when he said that he would take a polygraph test, that I got into contact with Jack Tremarco. Jack is a former FBI special agent and polygraph examiner. He's worked for the FBI and Homeland Security and done over 3,500 tests in his career and trained other people. I consider him to be the best of the best. Unfortunately, after 2.5 hours, Jack deemed Tim to be untestable. And Jack is not here today. He gave us the following statement. He said, and I quote, "In an effort to polygraph Tim, I deemed him untestable due to medically induced pain that caused a lack of chart purity. Tim wanted to continue with the polygraph, but I felt it would be a compromised test. Tim's pain was not an effort to evade the test. The spikes in the chart showed his pain was legitimate." Now, I suspect you guys would be suspect that he was trying to evade the test. I have great confidence in Jack's ability to know whether somebody's trying to evade the test or not. Jack has said he will make further attempts to do this, but he says he has a chronic pain syndrome. I believe this is secondary to diabetes.
Yes, it's
correct?
Diabetic neuropathy.
And he says that it was very clear that this wasn't a countermeasure, it wasn't an attempt to evade the test, that he wanted very much to take the test, asked to continue, let's try, let's do this. They worked for 2.5 hours, and he just simply could not get a baseline. We weren't able to get that done, but we're not through.
Okay.
We will continue to that done until we get that done. Now, what I want to do right now is take a break, and when we come back, I want to speak with you alone, without you two here, just with you, so we can talk about a few things. So after the break, I'm going to speak just with Brittany. We'll be right back. Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. Look, I don't know everything that's happened here. I'm not sure you know everything that happened here. What I know is that you've been traumatized.
Yes.
What happened to you and who did what when is less clear to me. That's less clear. What I know is I don't believe that you are lying one bit. I believe that you believe everything that you're saying. Now, does that mean that it's 100% accurate and grounded in reality? I don't know that. If you have a damaged personal truth, you said your self-esteem is wrecked. You generate the results in life you think you deserve.
Yep.
You can't let that happen. You have to claim that. And if that means that you have to forgive this person, let me tell you, forgiving doesn't mean that what he did was okay. He'll deal with that with God. That's not your job. And let me tell you something. Give me your hands. When you are in hatred and bitterness with somebody, you're locked with them like this. And for the rest of your life, you're locked. Wherever you go, you're locked with them just like this. And when you forgive them, only then you don't say it's okay. You just say, no, I refuse to be locked into a bond with you the rest of my life. Your daughter deserves 100% of her mother. Not 70% and 30% is locked up over here in darkness and pain. She needs 100% of her mother. And we're going to make sure that happens. Okay. Frank Lawless is here. He is the chairman of the Dr. Phil Show's advisory board, and he's the co-founder of the Lawless Peavy Center. And Dr. Lawless, I really would like for you to get all of your team, all of your resources involved with Brittany here, because don't you think there are some things here we can do to set Brittany free of this curse?
I think it's really important to create some desensitization, some skills in terms of dealing with this devastating event in her life and be able to let it go and, like you said, start enjoying her life.
You deserve that, and I want you to have that.
Okay.
Fair enough? So I'll have you talk with Dr. Lawless backstage. Okay, I want to thank my guests today, and a very special thanks to Jack Tremarco and Dr. Frank Lawless for lending their expertise today. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Thank you.